into some continuity and build up some innings because, he wasn't strong enough last year to really perform all that great because he needs reps. He needs reps in the worst way. He just hasn't pitched that much, and he's got to rebuild his stamina. That one illness he had with that torn esophagus muscle in his throat, that he lost 40 pounds on that, was in the hospital for weeks. And he wasn't, I did so much research and talked to people. He went into last year in camp with the spring training with the Dodgers, and he just wasn't at full strength. He wasn't at full weight. He lost like 40 pounds. And so I'm not surprised that he ran out of gas during the season. His first, if you look at his numbers pitching for both the Red Sox and the Dodgers, like the first time through the lineup, he was very good. Second time through the lineup, not as good at all. Third time through the lineup, terrible. So to me, that's a direct reflection on his stamina.
I like the profile. Bernie, you've already talked a lot about it, about the slider, or the sweeper, and the sinker, and what they can do, and the horizontal break on the sinker and the spin rate on the sweeper. So that's all really good. I also kind of wonder, there hasn't been an announcement yet. I wonder if they're slow playing it to see whether or not they can get one of these other moves made. If maybe, because there's been more Brendan Donovan rumors. I know we're going to talk about that later on the show. But they got to clear a spot on the 40-man roster. They just got done taking a player on the Rule 5 draft. They just got done making their tender decisions. I'm sure in a perfect world, they would not just drop somebody off the 40-man roster knowing that there's going to be other 40-man players that are going to be coming off the roster in the relatively near future. So if there's a handshake agreement there, they may wait a little bit while, to announce this deal until they have space on the 40-man.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you can do this without having to lose a player, then you do that. I mean, there's no issue with that whatsoever. We talked about this a bit on DGS. Actually, both of you guys, we did in separate segments, but now we're doing it all together. What I really like about the idea is that we've made a shift, it seems, and it seems like last year's draft went this way. It seems like we've seen this towards the trade of Sonny Gray, that the target is more ceiling than high floor, right? We're willing to take some risk where the previous regime, for different reasons, right? There was a lot of window of contention there where knowing what your bare minimum expectation is probably more helpful. But in a rebuild, I love that we're showing that we care a lot more about the ceiling than the floor.
Totally agree with that. And the thing of it is, I don't mind to see the Cardinals take any kind of risk, as long as it's not based on a long-term contract. Because if it goes bad, then you got a disaster on your hands. But this is a one and done, probably 2026, and then both sides have there's a mutual option for 27, so either side can move on after this season. And I think everything that I've been learning about him the last 48 hours or so tells me there's probably more green lights than red lights on this. But again, I can't assume success, but I think the Cardinals are getting him at a good time, and I think that Matt Pierpont's a terrific guy that can find ways to make him better. I think he's going to need a third pitch. His sinker has got great movement horizontally, side to side, but hitters really kind of butchered it last year. That it doesn't make sense in a way because it moves so much. They might change his arm angle again or something, but there's a way to make that sinker more of a weapon. And the sweeper had the highest spin rate in the major leagues last season, and the hitters didn't do much with it. So he's got a lot of good stuff on the way. And I was telling Kevin this in a text message. I'll just throw it out there.
This is great stuff.
I always like to go deeper into stuff. And you look at Dustin May's ERA last year, it was 4.96. You look at it, you shrug. Yeah, well, it wasn't very good. How much does he have left? And does he really have as much upside as we think and all that stuff? He made 23 starts last year, and I was using the Bill James game score on his starts, which I think is a handy reference, quick reference. 17 of his 23 starts were either good, really good, or right around average, or just a tick below average. In other words, even when he was below average with these starts,
right,
they were highly competitive. They weren't like he was getting blasted. So basically, he had 6 awful starts just awful starts. His ERA was like 9-something in those 6 starts. But in 74% of his starts, which is the 17 starts, his ERA was 3.30. Like, what's wrong with that? The answer would be nothing is wrong with that. That's good, actually. So, and that represents 74% of the starts he took last year. And I'm laughing it away because, listen, although I know Sonny Gray made more starts, but Sonny Gray had 7 bad starts for the Cardinals last season. Granted, with 32 starts in all.
Right.
But still, Dustin May, the guy's arm strength wasn't all the way back. His stamina to go deep into games wasn't all the way back. So you get a 3.30 in basically 3.30 ERA and basically 75% of your starts. I think he got something to build on there.
Yeah, he does. And to me, I think there's 3 scenarios that can play out here. Scenario 1 is he takes a step forward, the team doesn't contend, and you've got a really nice trade piece at the deadline. The other is the team surprisingly is in contention for a playoff spot, and he takes a step forward, and you've got a nice guy towards the top of your rotation. Or he has a season like he had last year, and you had Miles Miklasz last year. You have Dustin May this year. Like, you have a 5 ERA. You have a bunch of good starts. To your point, Bernie, more than anything else. Like, no matter those are the only 3 ways I see it playing out, and none of them are actually that bad.
No, not in a rebuild. Like, if you were where you were 5 years ago trying to win the division, well, then this is a risk, and this is not a good idea. But you're not in that spot now. You're in a spot where you stand to lose nothing if it's not a good deal. But you stand to possibly gain. And look, let's just I throw this at you, Bernie, because you mentioned a couple times. If Matt Pierpont can make a change or two, or just, if not change, just repair something, right? Repair the sinker. Because his 4-seam fastball was awesome last year. And his sweeper was awesome. You fix the sinker, now you've got 3 pitches to work off of. And you've got a fastball that goes straight. You got a fastball that goes to the arm side. You got a breaking ball that goes to the glove side. So you've got weapons. That could mean he's happy and he wants to stay. Like, this could be, if it goes well, there could be a relationship. Hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we extend this for a couple years? And then for a guy in his late 20s, that's actually a thing that could matter, not a guy when he's 34.
And if he's solid, they can flip him at the deadline next summer.
Right.
So, but we're going to, you got to expect that there's going to be a lot of stupid comments made about him, because people, all they can do, the span of their intellect goes to looking at an ERA. They don't look at anything else, right? They don't consider what he's been through, and especially that torn esophagus and how that set him way back. He could have died if he didn't go to the emergency room. His wife basically said, "You got to get in there," and it diminished his physicality. He's a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
6'6", well over 200 pounds. But, man, when you lose 40 pounds and then he couldn't do much activity before 2025 spring training, he wasn't really ready to be primed for spring training because he wasn't allowed to do much because of this surgery, which was a pretty major surgery. So, again, I know I'm being redundant. I apologize. But don't look at the ERA. Look at his upside. Look at what his ERA was before. This guy just ran into bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. And he's got stuff. And his stuff will be better after he rebuilds his strength and his inning stamina. So we'll get somebody here, talking about how he's Eric Fetty.
No, he was saying May is greater than Fetty.
Oh, better.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've seen Enrico, I apologize, man. I misread that. I need to get glasses. Please forgive me. But I've seen a lot of dumb comments. That wasn't one of them. And again, I apologize. But people just are going to assume it's the worst. This is a trash heap guy. He's not a trash heap guy. He's exactly this was once the number 2 prospect in the Dodgers organization. Dodgers, I think we all know, are really good about pitching. And he was at one point 35th overall in major leagues in terms of right before he got promoted. He's got good stuff, but he needs the reps, and I'm going to keep saying that. Yep. In fact, I'm being repetitive by saying that so much. But like you guys said, this is what you do in a rebuild. You go for upside. It doesn't cost you much money. There isn't any risk. It could be one and done. But you go for someone who has to use Wheels' term, a pretty high ceiling. And it's worth taking a shot at.
100%. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about how this fits and all of that with the starting rotation. We got some
No
updates.
pun intended.
Yeah, good point. Sorry, Richard Fitz. That's going to happen all season long. We'll talk a bit about the whole rotation with May as a part of the picture. We're going to get into some of the latest on the Donovan rumors, so hang tight. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here on Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? We need some extra cash.
We should do what my friend from work did. She went to BillsHappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
BillsHappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working this crash on westbound 70 at 79. Only the left lane is open. Westbound 70 still has slow stuff at the city limits, but it's a solid jam from 370 out to 79 because of that crash. Westbound Highway 64, still stop-and-go pockets approaching Kings Highway, headed out to Big Bend. There's a crash before Lindbergh. It's jammed approaching Clayton Warson. Still busy Spady to 270 and Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70 after that. South 270, there's slow traffic north of Olive all the way through Manchester, and then 44 to Gravois. North 270 backs up briefly through Manchester, then it's heavy all the way up to Ladue. That's due to an earlier crash. Westbound 44 is just kind of slow. Van Eventer Kings Highway. Southbound 55 Arsenal through Bates. There's heavy traffic. 141 down to Richardson Road, but after that it looks good. And westbound 44 is still slow between the bridges. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Duke's Mayonnaise.
This is the Duke's Country Song. It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo at Hannaford. It's got twang.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's Rush Hour Sports on KMOX. Matt Pauley. You got Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler hanging out with you on a Monday, talking a bit about the rotation now, because obviously we just spent the time talking about Dustin May and what we like about the move and all of that. And we all acknowledge there's potential risk, but it's okay to take risk in a rebuild when there's some upside. Obviously, he's going to be in the rotation, guys. And I don't know that opening day starter matters from a competitive standpoint this year. I think it's probably symbolic, but you think he and Liberatore are probably the two candidates, right? I mean, I'm sure they'll let it play out a little in the spring, seeing how these guys look. But, I don't know that it's McGreevy with almost no service time, and Fitz has never been in the Cardinals uniform, and we're not sure who the other guy could be. Maybe Leahy, maybe Palante, maybe someone not here yet, but maybe those guys are your candidates? May and Liberatore?
Well, yeah. Are you talking about to make the rotation or be in the
No,
rotation?
I mean opening day.
Oh, I have no idea. It's a hell of a long time between now and opening day. You know?
Yeah.
So,
but they're not bringing in anybody better.
I'll defer.
All right.
I do not have a good answer.
Yes, I agree with you, Kevin, that it's probably one of those two guys for sure, and we'll see how it all plays out. In the grand scheme of things, to Bernie's wonderful point, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
But yeah, I mean, there's no other unless somebody else comes in. I've been on record as saying I didn't think the club's opening day starter was on the roster. It might be now. So yeah, there you go. We'll ask Ollie about that as many times as we can before we even get to spring training.
Wheels, and I'm not cracking on you, man.
It's okay
you know
if you
me.
do.
No, but but this just reminds me, and I'll be really quick. Like within the last month or so, I'm reading blogs. It's like, well, here's the Cardinals' projected lineup for 2026. What? Donovan might be traded. Contreras might be traded.
Yeah.
Arenado's probably going to be traded. You
Yeah.
never know about Nootbaar being traded. What?
Why
are you projecting a lineup when
I don't know.
It was basically like 2 weeks into the off season? Everybody just calm down.
I don't want to.
Right?
Yeah. On a side note, to jump on with you. It also makes me laugh, and this is no shot at any of the publications that do it, but the ones that'll give you like the Cardinals 2029 lineup, and it's like all their current prospects with like 3 guys. There's like, come on, man, you guys, it's going to be free agents and trades and some prospects and some holdovers. Like, what are we doing? So this
all
isn't
those
that bad,
magazines, though, like the Lindy's and the Street and Smith and all those, I think those are still around. I know when I was a kid, I loved going to the grocery store and getting those magazines. Those generally like publish right after the front of the year. If Heim Bloom doesn't get moving, there's not going to be a lot of relevant information in those magazines.
Yeah, well, thankfully, most of it's online now.
I saw another thing today, maybe chuckle. It was a blog, and the author was making a huge deal over the fact that Ketel Marte had the Cardinals on his no-trade list, right? And to the author, this was an indication of how far the Cardinals had declined.
Oh.
It's embarrassing. People don't want to play for them. Okay, you're Ketel Marte. You're older.
Yeah, he's 32, I think.
Yeah, why in the heck would he want to be a Cardinal? Number one, they're entering a rebuild. Number two, their top prospect plays his position. But let's write a stupid blog about how, this just shows you people don't want to play for the Cardinals. This guy may not. You know what? He also had the Yankees on his no-trade list.
Right.
So what's the point exactly?
Right. He's 32 to get to your point, right? Like,
right.
He could be 35, 36, and that's if the rebuild thing goes well before you're like a legit contender, right? You could be good. You can be better faster than that. But yeah, it's an odd thing to be obsessed with at this point. How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about just now that there's with May in there, and he threw, almost 150 innings last year, and that's following, the esophagus surgery and those strength loss and all that. So I mean, you figure they should have plenty of coverage now, right? With him added to what they already had, and with what's coming up behind in the minor leagues. You think they got enough coverage, or you seek another guy to stash at AAA?
I don't know. Matt, you go first because I'm running my mouth. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Quinn Matthews' name in all of this, and he's somebody who's going to be contending for a spot in spring. They're not going to use 6 starters the way they did last year, and they used 6 starters with the 6th guy being Steven Matz, who was purposely moved between the rotation and the bullpen and eventually just being in the bullpen. So they're going to need some coverage. They're going to need some guys. It's probably not the worst thing. As much as I like Kyle Leahy and as much as he has established himself, if he's got to make some starts at AAA just to be stretched out, that's not the end of the world. I think they're okay. We'll see what happens with Andre Palante. He's still a big X factor for me. If he comes into spring and looks the way he looked last year, I'm not totally sure what you do with him at that point. But this one signing gives them really 7 guys now, I guess it is, that are legitimately contending for a spot in the rotation. So it does feel like there's a lot more coverage.
Yeah, and guys, I really would be surprised. I don't take anything for granted because we were talking about Quinn Matthews maybe being in the Cardinals rotation at the beginning of last year, but he had a setback and lost his command and things. But I'd be really, really surprised if he's not in this rotation. When I say at some point 2026. I'm not talking about August. I'm talking more like towards the front end, maybe May, maybe late May, something like that. And listen, I got to think Liam Doyle is a potential factor for maybe after the All-Star break or something like that. I mean, unless Liam Doyle can't throw strikes and he's getting roughed up because he's behind in the counts and all that stuff, why wouldn't you bring him to the major leagues if he's ready? I mean, and I know Chaim Bloom's philosophy is like he wants to make absolutely sure about prospects that they're ready.
Right.
So I respect that. But I think Doyle's name will be prominent if he gets off to a great start in Memphis.
Couldn't agree more. That's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Hang tight. We're going to talk about some of the latest rumors anyway on Brendan Donovan. And then we may move into a little bit of football as well as we go through here on Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. Unlock your e-price and save. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit genesisofstcharles.com during the Genesis Signature event. Based on GMA sales records for 2024. See dealer for details.
All right, it's a true story. I'm at the store today. I'm at Walmart, actually. And we've all been at the store, and somebody comes up to us, and they go, hey, who's your cable provider? Who's your cell phone provider? Who's your internet provider? So today, I'm at Walmart. I'm back in the electronics section, and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, who's your internet provider? And I went, i3 Broadband. And he said, oh, cool, and walked away. Didn't even finish the sale right then. I was shocked, like I was ready to defend i3 Broadband to the person at Walmart trying to sell me something. And I said it, and he said, cool, and he walked away. I've never had that experience before. Why? Probably because he knows whoever he was working for can't even start to hold a candle to the internet service you get with i3 Broadband. They are absolutely awesome. True fiber into your home. They always mirror their upload and download speeds, 1 gig, 2 gig, or 8 gigs, whatever your budget is. They've got something for you. Find out if they're available in your neighborhood. Head to the website, i3broadband.com/radio. That's i3broadband.com/radio. Or you can just give them a call. They'll answer any question you might have. 877-976-0711. That's 877-976-0711.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
At 5:30, the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got 36. The feels like is 30 downtown at the Arch. Authorities knocked on doors searching for any video there might be of Brown University gunmen who could be seen in grainy footage walking away from the weekend attack that killed 2 students and wounded 9 others. Australian leaders have promised to overhaul already tough gun control laws after a mass shooting targeted a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach. At least 15 people died in the attack. A 29-foot menorah was lit up last night in front of the Arch. Rabbi Chaim Landa from the Chabad Center of Greater St. Louis described the scene.
It was freezing last night. It was absolutely freezing. I think it was like 14 degrees. Maybe even got a little bit lower than that. And people showed up. Hundreds of people showed up. I think the response is we got to come out. We got to be strong.
For the first time ever, the Illinois Department of Public Health is out with an in-depth report on alcohol use in the state.
One key takeaway from this report, nearly 23% of Illinois high schoolers and 57% of adults in the state reported consuming at least one alcoholic beverage in the past 30 days, while more than 11% of high schoolers and 18% of Illinois adults acknowledge binge drinking, defined as consuming at least 4 or 5 drinks or more within a couple of hours. The report also looked at alcohol-related illness, traffic fatalities, and more. Data from this report, state health officials say, will be used to target programs and interventions related to alcohol use. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
How are consumers coping with increased prices this holiday season?
Jackie Castro has a method she uses when holiday shopping. The Nashville resident says she's willing to spend more on one meaningful gift rather than buying several items for one person.
It's like usually when my friends or family want something, it's from like a necklace or like these like branded shoes.
Tariffs have hit some items more than others, including toys and electronics, most of which are imported from China. Still, the worst-case impact on consumer prices that many economists predicted from these tariff policies has not yet materialized. Bennett Roach, a resident of Nashville, advises others to track how much they spend, especially when there's a long list of family and friends you're shopping for.
Everybody gets a little slice of the pie, but the pie, is getting smaller and smaller every year.
I'm Marcela Sanchez.
About 1,400 middle school students from the Parkway District are going to St. Louis University tomorrow for an immersive career day.
These students are going to get a vast variety of careers. We want them to be interested in healthcare, advanced manufacturing, construction, technology, you name it, it's going to be there. So they can see the different professions that's going on in our region.
Landon Pitts with the Regional Business Council says more than 40 area companies are participating. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk for tonight, we've got clear sky and cold temperatures, low 28 degrees. For tomorrow, sun's out 54, 35 tomorrow night. For Wednesday, sunshine and a high of 55. Could have some storms on Thursday. Right now, it's 36. The feels like is 30 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-568-2790. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-568-2790 or biglou.com.
Bernie Miklasz here on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Comfort dealer, has been taking care of the Miklas's for 18 years and counting. And more than that, Saliga Heating and Cooling, that family, 4 generations of Saligas have been taking care of St. Louis family since 1927. They're about to hit the century mark, which is pretty incredible and tells you a lot about how great they are. You last that long and you're still thriving. Yeah, that's quite an endorsement right there. But in our experience, Saliga can handle all of your heating and air conditioning needs for your home or business. They offer free estimates and financing options. They're not going to leave you hanging if you have an emergency. We've called on them for 18 years, and we really appreciate their knowledge, their class, their integrity. They'll never try to upsell you or hustle you. You can count on them and you can trust them. And they want to earn your trust and your continued support of the Saliga Heating and Cooling business. So for more information, you can just visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and the phone number is there, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Please welcome one of the game's all-time greats.
There, when legends were born.
Stan Musial, another left-handed hitter. The slugger of the cards stands in there.
Listen to the crowd, everybody up on their feet. Stan waits. Here's the pitch. Line drive, there it is! Into left field! Hit number 3,000! A run is scored! Musial around first! On his way to second with a double! Holy cow, he came through!
Stan is certainly the man here in town, and always has been and always will be.
For my mother and the Musial family, for making me a Cardinal forever. Thank you.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
Discover one of St. Louis's greatest treasures, St. Louis Public Library's Central Library. Designed by world-renowned architect Cass Gilbert and completed in 1912, this Beaux Arts masterpiece blends stunning historic details with modern design after a $70 million award-winning renovation. Experience the grandeur for yourself. Free docent-led tours are available Mondays at 11 and 12:30 and Saturdays at 11 noon and 1 p.m. Visit online at slpl.org to learn more. St. Louis Public Library.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls, whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's Chicken Pot Pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second-guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. 2025 was a turning point for America. House Republicans didn't just talk about the challenges facing our country, we delivered real solutions. I was proud to stand beside President Trump to deliver historic tax cuts, secure our border, and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. This year, my office helped constituents by solving over 500 cases and returning to them nearly $1.8 million. I'm Congressman Bob Onder, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we got some troubles headed westbound. This traffic reports the service of Four Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa. Westbound Highway 70, they're still working that crash at 79. Only the left lane is open. Traffic is slow approaching Cave Springs, and it jams west of there out to 79 to that crash. Westbound 64, you're heavy from the Science Center all the way to Hanley, but then it jams from Hanley all the way out to a crash that's in the left lane, westbound 64, just before Lindbergh. After that, it's still slow, Lake St. Louis Boulevard to Prospect. Eastbound 64 backs up, Spady through Lindbergh, looking at that crash, but it's still heavy all the way into a Big Bend. South 170 still bogs down at Delmar. North 170 north of Natural Bridge to Airport Road is slow. Southbound 55 a little busy at Bates. South 270 and North 270 between Clayton Road and Oliver busy. Southbound goes to Manchester and it's slow. 44 down to about Sappington, then it jams at Tesson Ferry because of a crash we had recently south of there. Since 2018, Four Pretty Paws Mobile Pet Spa has provided stress-free one-on-one grooming right at your doorstep. Convenient, personal, and trusted. Book your holiday appointment at fourprettypaws.com. Now serving Southern Illinois. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Obviously spent a good time talking about Dustin May and the way the pitching's starting to line up. We got some more stuff this weekend on Brendan Donovan. You guys, I know we all saw Katie Wu's story in The Athletic mentioning the Mariners and the Giants as the two front runners right now. But with that, and obviously Katie's great. We all respect her work, and that's fantastic. But we still see other teams that are kind of hanging in there too. Sounds like if some of these reports are good, that competition, guys, could be what helps even get you a better package than we might have thought. If you've got 5 teams that want a guy, that's 5 teams bidding against each other to a degree. Well,
Katie's reporting is on point, and things can change, not because her reporting's wrong, but teams may balk at a request. But what did we all say? Most of us say, like going into the offseason, what do the Cardinals need? They need young starting pitching with some strikeout punch, and they need a power hitter. Well, the 2 players that she cited in her report that are prime candidates to come to St. Louis in a Donovan trade would fill that. I'm really excited about the young outfielder who just turned 21, Lazaro Montes.
Oh man.
6'5", 210. He's got the best arm in their system. He was their minor league player of the year. His low A and high A the last season. And keep in mind, really, really young. He had a 354 on base percentage, a 504 slug, hit 32 home runs. He struck out too much, but he also had a high walk rate.
Yep.
There is a load of talent there. And I would, if in fact he's offered, I have a hard time believing I'm
gotta say yes, man.
Right?
Yeah, you got to say yes. Here's how big a nerd I am. He's been on my fantasy team for 2 years.
What are you talking about? You have a AAA fantasy team?
We do. And actually, I just traded him to get Ronald Acuna. So there you go. I traded him in a package of players to get Ronald Acuna. But like that. But going back to our theme with May and all of that, is there risk with a 21-year-old who strikes out a lot? Yeah. But when you got a 21-year-old who already has a 30 home run season in the minor leagues and he draws walks, and the year before that hit 20 homers in only 116 games. We've talked about this, Matt and I didn't expect a player of that magnitude to be mentioned. Now, Katie did say that the names were brought up by the Cardinals. She didn't say they were being offered, but either way, if you can get one of those guys, boom, dude, Bernie, I'm with you. Sign up right now. Don't even wait another day. Just make the move because that's great.
That was the most encouraging part of that report, is that's the level of prospect that's being talked about, because that's higher than what I thought. And we've been,
same.
Again, I'm not trying to raise expectations for people listening right now, and you just made a really good point, Kevin. We'll see what it looks like when all is said and done, but I'm with you. If that's the level of prospect that you're going to get for Brendan Donovan, and the fact that those single prospects alone don't seem to be enough, that they want at least a second guy to come over with them, man, that's a way to really put a supercharging effect on what you're trying to do in a rebuild here.
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Giants would offer, but listen, they have a power hitting prospect, or number one prospect. I forget his name. I find it hard to believe they would trade him.
Yeah, Bryce Eldridge.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks.
Yeah, there are rumors that he's available, but I would be shocked if he's available for Donovan. I did see a report that they're planning on Rafi Devers being their primary first baseman, which is probably why they're considering Eldridge for pitching, I think. But still, like I said, Eldridge would be something because he's been a top 10, 15 prospect, and he's 6'7" power hitter. But they have a couple of infielders that are really notable, a couple of very young shortstops. The kid they just drafted out of Tennessee, Gavin Killen, who played for Vitello, which makes me think that the Giants aren't going to trade him. I can't imagine they would trade Vitello's guy right after he takes the job. But anyway, the fact is you've got 2 good teams, and there are more. I mean, I've seen Boston linked. I've seen Kansas City linked, even though they just made some other moves over the weekend that may or may not kind of conflict with that. We've seen, who else have we seen? There's at least 2 or 3 others that have been linked. I think maybe the Marlins were even posted as being interested. So they're in Houston. I wonder if that competition is why the level of player we're seeing written about is more than at least Matt and I would have anticipated.
Yeah, I would think so. And you never really know quite what to believe.
Yeah.
And, like, for example, we all were assuming, with good reason, oh, man, the Mets, they lose Pete Alonso. Hey, they'll be in the Contreras market now.
Not anymore.
And nope. They signed Jorge Polanco instead. and I forget who the heck they're going to have play first base.
Yeah, him.
But
him.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought maybe they were
Which is
sliding
really
somebody else
weird,
over.
man. Yeah, that's really weird. You wouldn't pay
Well, I mean,
Pete, but you pay
he's
him.
a really good hitter, but I wonder if last year was like a bit of an outlier, though.
I'm with you. He's been super up and down in his career, and it's only a 2-year deal. But I saw somebody, I think it was a Mets guy, make this point. Like, you'll spend $20 million a year on Jorge Polanco, who in 2024 hit .213 and posted a .651 OPS. And you're going to ask him to play a position he's never played before instead of just signing Pete Alonso for 5 years. And Polanco is older than Pete. He's a year or two older than Pete.
I didn't know that.
So this is a super weird move by the Mets. Not that we're a Mets show, but that was super weird.
No, it's good to talk about.
They think his defense at first is going to be really good, and everything I've read coming out of New York is one of David Stearns' main goals this year was to clean up the defense, especially so they feel really good about his potential defense at first base. But I like David Stearns a lot. Any baseball general manager, president of baseball operations, who's bringing in a first baseman because of their defense at first, I would question that move.
And we're getting some comments, and I'm not being critical, but we're talking prospects, and I understand the skepticism, especially since Jordan Walker's kind of flopped to this point, and Nolan Gorman has been incredibly streaky. But when you're rebuilding, especially, and you trade veterans, you're trading them for prospects.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, none of these prospects come with a tag that says money back 100% refund guaranteed. So yeah, I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, because I understand the apprehension over prospects, but this is what you get. And sometimes the prospect's overhyped. Other times the prospect is Willie McGee. Other times the prospect is Adam Wainwright. Other time the prospect is David Freese.
Yeah.
So you can't be scared to make a trade for prospects, especially if they're highly rated by neutral evaluators, because you got to take your chances. You can't be scarred.
No.
No. So whatever.
And if you make the assumption, we got a break, but I'll do this fast. If you make the assumption that 1 in 3 prospects will make it, the other 2 will fail, well, then it's better to have 9 of them than 3 of them, because that's 3 successes. And so that's the idea of compiling talent, because if you're assuming failure of some of them, and then the ones that make it, you have more of those.
Right.
All right, one more segment coming up. We'll stick with the hot stove. It's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, and Kevin Wheeler on KMOX.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, good news for westbound 70 drivers. They cleared that crash westbound 70 at 79. Traffic is still jammed, though, west of Cave Springs out through Mid-Rivers. It's just starting to open up because it just cleared it a couple of minutes ago. We now have crashes in both directions on 64 east of Lindbergh. Eastbound 64 is jammed back pretty close to Ballast. Westbound 64 is slow at Hampton and jammed from Hanley out to Clayton Worcester. In fact, we have a crash now midway between McKnight and Clayton Worcester as well. So the troubles continue. Because of all that, South 170 is still backed up at the Parkway. Southbound 270 slow, 44 down to Tesson Ferry from an earlier crash we had there. And we have a little heavy traffic eastbound 270 from 203 to 111 if you're headed through Madison County. Northbound 170, 70 up to Hanley. There's still a couple of slowdowns. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Got any gadgets? Get online protection. NordVPN has a ho-ho holiday deal just for you. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro feature helps you avoid malware, phishing, and annoying trackers. Just a few taps and you're safer online. Let your gadgets sparkle with online security. Go to NordVPN.com and get up to 77% off plus 3 extra months. NordVPN.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, Rush Hour Sports. We only have 3 minutes, so let's do this quick. And I just wanted to bring this up off that last conversation, off that last point. Cardinals fans are not used to rebuilding, right? So as a contender, you're not stockpiling prospects. So when you have 1 out of 3 make it and 2 fail, obviously it stings you a little bit, and that's when you get into the trade and free agent market. But rebuilding, that's what this is all about, right? I mean, Matt, you've mentioned this a million times. It's about adding volume as well as quality, but obviously quality and volume combined is what's going to be your best bet.
Yeah, just keep going as many guys as you can, and some of them are going to work out. And the other side of that, which is the organization's doing better, give them all the resources, all the instruction, all the infrastructure, all the technology, everything that they need as they come up to give them the better chance to make it, because that is one area that the organization has really been lacking in recent years.
And they've got some prospects on the way. I mean, there's some pretty exciting talent, like more than I can remember, covering Cardinals and keeping an eye on prospects. And I'll give you an example. Okay, when you acquire a pitching prospect that's highly regarded, there's a chance that he'll break, because how many thousands of Tommy John surgeries have there been?
Yeah.
So in other words, when the Cardinals acquired Tekoa Roby, they knew that in Texas, like, he had like problems with his elbow. And even before they made the trade, they just said, you know what? He's probably going to have Tommy John surgery, but he's really special. And we'll go through that with him because he's worth it. So Tekoa Roby did have Tommy John surgery. And you know what? It's actually a good thing, because now his elbow issues are cleared up and he'll be good to go when he returns. So you can't pass judgment on prospects because they're not here yet.
Yeah.
There's always a story. Tink Hence, they've finally got him on a training program, finally, to get him stronger and more durable, finally. So don't pass judgment on guys who aren't here yet just because maybe it's taken a little longer than you'd like.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I also toss on top of that, I mean, I know we've said it a million times, but it's a new regime. We can't judge what Bloom is going to do based on what the Mozeliak group did. I mean, they're gonna operate differently. We've seen some of those differences already with the types of players they're drafting and trading for, and what they did with Dustin May in free agency. So we just got to let it play, and then we'll form our judgments later when there are results to judge. All right, boys, that was a good Monday. We'll look forward to doing this again later in the week. Bernie, great stuff. And by the way, great in-depth video on Dustin May. Really appreciate that at STL Sports Central. Matt, have a good night tonight. No Sports Open Line. Enjoy
That's
it.
Right. Monday Night Football.
We've got Monday Night Football coming up next on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends.